wanted to hang out in an airport. A freaking airport. Unless you absolutely had to. You want to talk about people who got to get out of their own bubble. I mean, this is a perfect example of that. So I saw this on Fox 4 yesterday, that there is consideration for allowing people who want to go to the new airport in Kansas City to allow them to basically hang out in the terminal area, the restaurant area, even if they don't have a plane ticket that day. Why? The job of an airport is to make sure the people who are flying are being taken care of, have a smooth, easy process, can easily get food, can easily get through security, and you're preventing bad actors from potentially getting on airplanes. That's the only job of an airport. An airport is not an entertainment district. An airport is not a glorified food court for you to go eat on your spare time. An airport serves one purpose: people who have bought tickets to fly around the country to get them efficiently and effectively and safely from point A to point B. That's it, John Anthony.
Now, there's a grand tradition here in town that was memorialized in the musical Oklahoma. Everything's up to date in Kansas City. We've gone about as far as we can go, right? I remember as a kid, we visited the new airport when KCI opened. I was like, hey, here's something new.
Well,
I guess when you're landlocked here in the Midwest with no oceans.
No. Don't sell yourself short. I mean, I understand that, but, that was not to age you, but a long time ago,
okay.
Right?
So you think it's a little different now?
I think it's just different now. I just think it's different. If you want to see a new shiny object, go ride the damn Ferris wheel.
Well, we're doing that on the way. See, that's the point, Pete. There's a fear of missing out. We got to get out there. We got to be the first, second, or third one on that thing.
If you want to go see the airport, how about this? Buy a Southwest round trip to Dallas.
Go somewhere.
It'll cost you literally a couple $100. It's not going to be a lot of money to get a Southwest flight to Dallas on a Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. Going to Chicago, you can get to the Cubs-White Sox games for,
go do
double
something.
Figures. Yeah.
But who wants to go to an airport? But by the way, even if you're like, I really want to go to the airport to try out the food, why do you want to go get ripped off and pay twice the amount of money for food that you could get 5 minutes from your house? Like, have you never seen an airport before? What is
the best $6 bottle of water I've ever had?
So this was which TV network had this? Where did I? It was Fox 4, I believe, had this report. No, KCTV5. Here it is. All right, I got the report in front of me. KCTV5. Let's roll this ridiculousness.
They would still go through the security process. Prohibited items would still be prohibited, and liquids and all those rules would still apply.
But that wouldn't be the only security checkpoint. The first would be reserving your time at the airport, likely through your phone.
Better get those shoes.
In making a reservation, we'd want to gather from the passenger a lot of the same information airlines are gathering: name, gender, date of birth, to run against the database and make sure they're not a threat.
Myers said a consideration would be how busy the airport is. For example, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. is actually the busiest time at KCI.
Yeah, it's 5 a.m. I'm up early. What should I do today? I'm going to go to the airport and hang out and drink a cup of coffee for $7.50, said no one ever.
What's it going to be, like a nightclub? Hang on, we're a little busy, stop, right?
Yeah.
You got guys waiting at the rope to get into the airport.
They got their nightclub, best on.
The bouncer's got a tux. Looks good.
So maybe not during that time, and
limitations on how long you can be here and no overnight stays, those kind of things. But that would all be something that we'll kind of finalize in the terms and conditions of the program.
We're talking to everybody.
But the program could help loved ones assist others that have trouble walking to their gates, or parents with their children, or just sharing that last meal together before we trip.
I'm really proud of the barbecue that we have up here. Meat Mitch is really great food. We've got the Kansas City barbecue experience. We're smoking 1,500 pounds of meat every night, and the customers are really enjoying that.
Yeah, you can't get barbecue anywhere else in this town. You got to go to the airport for some barbecue, apparently. Also said no one ever. And I've had the Meat Mitch barbecue.
That's good, Pete. There's a line to get in.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. I don't have any problems with it. It's airport pricing, so it's a ripoff, but, it's fine. Do I need to go to the airport, park, walk across the street, go through security to have barbecue in this town? No, don't really need to do that. On the text line, there is someone making the case for this. So I'm going to be sympathetic to this and at least read it to you. Says here on the text line, 913-408-7957. Pete, I travel a ton for work. My wife drops me off a lot at the airport. It would be nice if she could come in with me and we could have breakfast or lunch before I fly out. More time together with my heavy travel schedule would be nice. That's nice. And I genuinely believe that there are probably a handful of people of that mindset who would appreciate that. But there's a reason that airports in this country don't do that anymore. Unless you can show me another airport where that's feasible. I mean, I've been to probably a dozen airports in this country, and I've never seen this be policy anywhere else in a post 9/11 world. Maybe you can find me somewhere that does it. But certainly no major American city airport has this kind of option where you can go behind security without an airline ticket. And my fear is that it will hamper the process for those who are actually paying customers and need to fly from point A to point B. Because if you use any resources, for people who are not flying, then you're not using resources in a zero-sum game for people who are flying. It's not like they're going to expand the staffing to accommodate people not flying. And that's the part of this that I want no part of.
Yeah, to your point, I mentioned we went there when KCI opened when I was a kid back in the 70s. It's a different world. You used to have an airline ticket. It was paper, right? You used to have tickets to go to places. Things change, and we began to understand. You can't go to the airport. You say your goodbyes before you get to the airport.
You drop
right?
off,
you
say
can eat
goodbye.
anywhere in town.
Yes.
And have that great meal.
Well, that's the other thing.
It's just the new way things are, right?
It's how the world is.
Yeah, there you go.
You grab a bite to eat on the way to the airport, and if you're a regular traveler and you've got TSA pre-check, I mean, you're going to be through that gate in 5 minutes. Through the pre-check in 5 minutes. You're going to be to your gate 5 minutes after that. I mean, I know they say get to the airport 2 hours prior. No one needs to get to the airport 2 hours prior. If you're a regular traveler, you're by yourself, and you have TSA pre-check. You can get there at KCI probably an hour before the flight. You could probably get away with it 45 minutes before the flight and still make it with time to spare. So I'm not changing the flow of a major American airport so some Tom, Dick, and Harry can go get Meat Mitch and spend $20 on a brisket sandwich. I'm not doing it. But I wonder if some of this is being driven by the fact that the vendors are struggling. And no one will ever tell you that. The city won't say anything about that if that's actually the case. But that's the only thing that makes sense to me, because no one actually wants to spend time at an airport in their spare time. If you do, you're probably also a serial killer. That's the only conclusion I can come to. Meantime, what's going to happen in Jeff City over the next few months? Hopefully more than nothing. Patrick Ishmael on that coming up next.